This is a tale that Hollywood epics are made of. An extraordinary story of a dinosaur that came from nowhere and conquered Hollywood. Nate Murphy is a world-renowned dinosaur hunter and researcher. His fascination culminated with a pilgrimage to Montana. Today, Murphy realizes a lifelong dream. Today, he visits the birthplace of his childhood hero, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, wow. Well, wow. This is the place where it all began. 100 years ago. This is where, for all intents and purposes, began the life of Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Before T-Rex became the beloved Hollywood feature creature of motion pictures, he was a loner from a small Midwestern town. But fate stepped in, and a man who would become a lifelong friend thought T-Rex had promise as an entertainer. Barnum Brown, named after master showman P.T. Barnum, was the assistant curator at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. In the early 1900s, Brown assembled a team of archaeologists and paleontologists and led an expedition to a place called the Badlands. They discovered that Tyrannosaurus Rex had been preserved for 65 million years beneath the Earth's surface.
Come on, Blue.
They were headed to a place called Hell Creek.
Brown felt that this was a good place to come out and prospect for potentially new species of dinosaurs here in the Badlands of Montana. Indians still lived in this area. There were outlaws and horse thieves. It was almost the end of the world here.
The area was so remote that no one had ever thought it worthwhile for dinosaur prospecting. So what possessed Barnum Brown to come here 100 years ago? He was acting on a tip-off. By chance, a friend of his had been hunting giant elk when he'd come across some interesting dinosaur bones. As soon as Brown had found them, he knew his journey had been worthwhile. There was something special here. T-Rex's moment had come. After 65 million years languishing unseen beneath the earth, at last he'd been discovered. But getting him out wasn't going to be easy. Barnum Brown and his colleagues now faced a challenge they were determined to surmount. Bob Bacher, a paleontologist and Barnum Brown biographer, explains the obstacles of excavating the gigantic discovery.
The trouble with digging great beasts like Mr. Rex out of deep time is that there are too many layers of deep time on top of the layer you want to dig. For instance, Barnum Brown's great T-Rex was in a layer of sandstone, and above it was another layer, and then another, and then another, a whole cliff of deep time, all really hard. So what he needed to do was blow the upper layers off with dynamite so he could get at the T-Rex layer.
With each piece of Tyrannosaurus unearthed, Barnum Brown's excitement grew. Realizing how unique this dinosaur was, he immediately wired the curator of the museum, Henry Osborne, to share the fascinating news. The dinosaur was millions of years old, but even the ravages of time couldn't hide how special this discovery was.
He knew that he had hit the jackpot. He was bursting at the seams to report this magnificent discovery, and that he was going to please his boss.
Barnum Brown had been commissioned to find a new dinosaur by Henry Osborne, the curator of the American Museum of Natural History in New York.
Osborne got telegrams and letters from the field from Barnum Brown and sketches. And it was clear there was something new in Hell Creek. The teeth were gigantic, bigger than any found, and thicker, like great big railroad spikes, but that wasn't all. The overall size was bigger. The legs were longer and more slender. It was like a gazelle mated with a rhinoceros, but that wasn't all. Here was a combination of features, of shapes, never seen in any one body before. They knew it was new.
My dear Professor Osborne, there is no question that this is the find of the season. A large carnivorous dinosaur.
Osborne concurred that they indeed had the major discovery of the century. Barnum knew how to pack a house, so he gave his future star his first big break. A one-man show at the American Museum of Natural History. A new star attraction would pack in the crowds. The bigger, the fiercer, the better.
Dinosaur. Large, carnivorous dinosaur.
It wasn't long before the first few fragments arrived in New York.
So what do you think is in here?
Yeah, a toe.
A toe? Just a toe?
Well, he's a big guy.
He's a really big guy.
Barnum and Henry knew this would be the single largest attraction the museum had ever presented.
Now what on earth do you think we're gonna call him?
Osborne sat down to construct a name that expressed the position of Mr. Rex in the ecosystem, this apex of carnivory. The name has to be evocative, it has to be beautiful, it has to be lyrical. You hear it once, you remember it.
I got it. Massospondylus gigas. The giant sponge-like bone fin.
Needs a little more work.
After hours and hours of pondering, Osborne finally named the newest dinosaur.
When he came up with Tyrannosaurus Rex, the tyrant lizard king, oh man, I'm telling you what, you just can't do any better than that.
Tyrant lizard king. Beautiful, short, you hear it once, you remember it, and it can be abbreviated, T-Rex.
Barnum Brown and Henry Osborne kept their new treasure a highly guarded secret. Barnum, like his namesake P.T., realized opening night makes or breaks a show.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Brown.
In December of 1905, the greatest prehistoric creature the world had ever seen was unveiled in New York City.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the king of the tyrant lizards, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus Rex debuted with a splash. He became an overnight sensation. The curtain calls that night extended into the wee hours of the next morning. The New York Times dedicated the entire front page to the newest, most shocking star in the city that never sleeps. T-Rex was the epitome of an intimidating beast. The untamed, unknown brought to life. The incredible reviews kept on coming. But soon the reporters were bored of the positive words they kept writing and started looking for a new angle on the celebrity. They focused immediately on his only unimpressive body feature.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Are those really his arms?
Yes, they are.
He couldn't kill with those arms. They're not big enough.
The initial questions surrounding T-Rex's strength only perpetuated interest, and he was an astonishing hit at the museum. It soon became clear that he was destined for greater things, but T-Rex first needed to improve his image.
Don't
right on in.
T-Rex was introduced to brilliant artist and the foremost image consultant, Charles Knight. He would become the dino industry version of the Star Maker.
Come on, this way.
Osborne had always been a fan of Knight's work and jumped at the opportunity to collaborate on a project.
Charles Knight was a brilliant artist, and also he cared about how accurate his artwork was from a scientific standpoint, and it shows. His illustrations and paintings are imprinted on my mind. They are the things that still stroke my imagination today.
Go back.
Knight was the man who created the first impression of T-Rex, as he would have looked 65 million years ago at home in the Badlands of Montana.
Even though our expanse of knowledge and the actual biology of the animals have kind of changed, he didn't even have a clue to work with, and yet he got pretty doggone close.
Can you just turn that way, please?
Knight created the image T-Rex deserved. The primitive monster became everything his name encompassed, a cold-eyed tyrant with the harsh, repellent skin of a lizard, possessing the majesty of a king.
No, as you were. I'm fine. I'm okay.
T-Rex had begun to sense he had found all the levels and nuances of his one-man show's character and began feeling limited by the venue. With new confidence gained by the mightier exterior, T-Rex was ready to pursue a career beyond the museum. Silent movies had arrived, and with them came a totally new phenomenon, the movie star. Charlie Chaplin, Gloria Swanson, and one surprise, Gertie, the very first dinosaur to appear on film. Released in 1914, Gertie was a simple animation featuring a charming, friendly, and hungry brontosaurus. Cinema-goers fell in love with her.
Gertie is important for several reasons. One is it's the first classic character ever designed and animated for a cartoon.
Don Bluth is a world-renowned authority on dinosaurs and dinosaur films. He has followed T-Rex's career from the early days.
Gertie was done by an American cartoonist named Winsor McCay. He would come out on a stage. He had the animation timed to his actions, but it would look like he was walking and emerging onto the screen, and then Gertie would pick him up and take him away.
The success of Gertie encouraged the film studios to look for other dinosaurs with star quality. And it wasn't long before T-Rex was asked to make his debut in The Ghost of Slumber Mountain. The redesigned T-Rex was true perfection. His innovative look captured his personality and power. And though Rex was less than graceful, he impressed the film's director, Willis O'Brien.
To my knowledge, that is the first appearance of T-Rex in a movie. He makes his film debut in that. And at that time, that was these were the most realistic dinosaurs ever to appear on the screen.
Getting good performances out of extinct creatures had been thought to be impossible. But behind these scenes was a brand new dino filming technique called stop motion, which was pioneered by director Willis O'Brien.
Willis O'Brien was a pioneer in the art of stop motion animation. And because he was a prehistoric animal buff, he actually went on a dig or two, and in his time, he thought this would be an ideal way of bringing dinosaurs to life.
His compelling performance in The Ghost of Slumber Mountain had convinced Willis O'Brien that T-Rex had the potential to become box office gold. Together, O'Brien and Rex worked on perfecting stop motion, which was now taking Hollywood by storm, shot by shot.
Stop motion animation is basically the same principle as an animated cartoon, except you're using a three-dimensional model instead of a series of drawings.
All right, Rexy, let's see what we can see. Okay.
Here's a model of an Allosaurus, kind of a distant cousin of T-Rex. And let's say you move the mouth a little bit, move the arm a little bit, move the leg a little bit, and then click off one frame of film.
All right, now move just a little bit. Great. Action, cut.
Move it a little bit more, move this a little bit more, move this a little bit more, click off another frame of film. Keep doing this over and over and over again.
All right, more. I need more. I love you. Action, cut.
Keep doing this over and over again for a period of days, weeks maybe, and then when you have your final film strip, you project it through a projector, and in looking at one frame at a time going by, it looks like the animal is moving.
Yeah. Oh, feel the river. Feel the river, Rex. Keep on moving. That's great.
With a new look and a new film technique, T-Rex was on his way to fame and fortune. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in England, something was happening that would dictate the critical next stage of T-Rex's career. Inspired by the discovery of giant dinosaur footprints near his home in Sussex, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, had written a fantastic new adventure story. The book was called The Lost World.
Mr. O'Brien?
And O'Brien immediately recognized its potential.
See this book? This is the book I want to make a movie out of. The public are going crazy over this thing. They can't put it down. They try to put it down, but they have to pick it back up again.
Willis O'Brien is very important in the history of animation, stop-motion animation particularly, because he was the first ones to make stars of dinosaurs.
Willis O'Brien was mentor to Oscar-winning filmmaker Ray Harryhausen. Harryhausen shared O'Brien's passion for dinosaurs and had the opportunity to work with T-Rex on some of his greatest films.
I remember O'Brien telling me an incident in the picture where he said the lady who wrote the screenplay came up to him and said, if the dinosaurs don't turn out very good, well, we can leave them out of the picture. What would the Lost World be without dinosaurs, you know?
What about fierce dinos, you know? Fierce.
Exactly.
Willis O'Brien was a scholarly man, anatomically literate. He went to the American Museum. He saw the skeletons. He thought about them. He saw Knight's paintings and a sculpture. He listened to Osborne's ideas. And although T-Rex has a bit part in the movie, T-Rex influence is huge. The Lost World has the typical plot. Explorers find a plateau, or it could be an island, somewhere in the tropics where time has stood still. It's still 67 million years ago, or 120 million. There are dinosaurs still alive. The dinosaurs see the explorers, chase the explorers, eat 3 or 4 secondary characters, and the hero and the heroine emerge tattered, but otherwise okay.
T-Rex didn't actually feature in the book, but O'Brien made sure there was a role for him in the film.
If you put it in the perspective of when it was made, you might say that the original Lost World is one of the most accurate dinosaur movies ever made, because those dinosaurs, again, were based on the work of Charles R. Knight, who worked with the paleontologists. So this is the way dinosaurs were. It was a conscious effort on the part of the filmmakers to portray these animals in the way that scientists believed that they actually were back then. So in that sense, The Lost World is one of the most accurate dinosaur movies ever made.
The success of The Lost World made monster celebrities of T-Rex and O'Brien. But the powerful duo faced a new challenge. Talkies had arrived, and they were the fabulous new cinematic style. It was the death of many careers. Stars like Rudolph Valentino and Mary Pickford, two of the biggest stars of the silent film era, found themselves no longer in demand because their voices were not what the public wanted. But that wouldn't stop T-Rex. The year, 1933. The place, Hollywood. Cinema history was about to be made with King Kong.
I remember when we arrived at Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, the foyer had this big bust of Kong that was life-size. He was supposed to be 40 or 50 feet high. It was so impressive. When the curtains parted and you heard Max Steiner's famous theme of Kong introducing the title, it was just overwhelming.
Wild, weird, wonderful.
King Kong, and nobody quite knew what to expect.
Truly, the thrill of thrills.
It's been more than 70 years since the film premiered. Kong moved to the Hollywood Hills shortly after principal photography was completed on the film. These days, he is directing independent features. He is often asked about his old friend.
Would you like your back done now, sir? Good. Good yawn, yes, that's it. I think I hear the doorbell, sir. Please wait here.
King Kong was an action-packed adventure filmed on a remote island and in the streets of New York. The script called for a strong, domineering gorilla to play the lead role. Of course, Kong was the only one the producers approached.
When I read it, I just thought, this script has got my name on it.
So how did T-Rex muscle in on the act?
Well, I had to fight a suitably impressive monster to show off my great strength and ruthlessness. There was only one real choice.
And I remember seeing Kong fighting the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it was so impressive because you never see anything like that on the screen before. It changed the whole concept of prehistoric life.
T-Rex was now undeniable box office gold. He was the toast of Hollywood. Every director sent scripts to him. T-Rex in your film meant a surefire hit. But fans love to make idols. Then when they become envious of their success, they love to sacrifice them. The press resurrected the old questions and people began probing into his past, looking under the surface to see what he was really made of. They say there's no such thing as bad publicity in Hollywood. T-Rex was the exception to the rule. The questioning of Hollywood's favorite predator took on a life of its own.
It's been suggested that Tyrannosaurus Rex was this slow, stinky, lumbering scavenger.
In an effort to uncover the truth, these scientific critics would leave no bone unturned. If T-Rex really was a vicious predator, then why were his arms so small? In other dinosaurs, arms were weapons for killing. And was an animal this big really capable of chasing after anything?
Sometimes you hear rumors that it was a craven scavenger, that it was a predatory plagiarist that wouldn't kill its own prey, but steal someone else's, and worse yet, it was a doddering fumblebum who could only stumble around at 12 miles per hour, and the average out-of-shape couch potato U.S. citizen could outrun Rex. These are lies. They're all lies, you know.
Once the rumors started, they fueled more rumors. One scientist noted T-Rex's bones were hollow. Birds have hollow bones. Could the tyrant king of lizards be nothing more than a big old bird? Audiences started feeling deceived by the star they had invited into their hearts, and they were demanding answers.
Mr. Rex, we are trying to establish the truth. Are you a bird? Do you deny that you have hollow bones? Any true dinosaur would be proud to answer that question. Are you a scavenger? Answer the question. Why are your arms so small, Mr. Rex? Mr. Rex, we are trying to establish the truth. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
The beast. The beast. The beast from 20,000 fathoms.
Though nothing had been proved, the rumors were damaging. Fans shunned this once illustrious actor. As suddenly as it had started, the champagne stopped flowing. The starlets no longer vied for his attention. Producers would not take his calls. But T-Rex could not just walk away from performing. It was in his bones, hollow or not. He vowed he would never go jobless again. He would prove that his talent, arms, bones, and lineage could outshine the scandal that had ruined his career. But in the 50s, T-Rex encountered competition of the third kind. The aliens had landed, and this time they had agents.
B-movies, oh yeah, I mean, them were the days, do you follow me? Fantastic. Every Tom, Dick and Harry with a camera was making a movie about dinosaurs or an alien or a walking plant or whatever you like. We was never out of work. It was insane, do you follow me? But T-Rex, to be fair, he did do some dodgy films.
Populations crazed and panicked with fear by its destructive force.
T-Rex has been in quite a few B-movies. Sometimes not with the prestigious depiction that Willis O'Brien gave him.
Though T-Rex did some less than fantastic films just to keep working, one old friend remained loyal. Ray Harryhausen first worked with T-Rex in the 30s.
Weird, wonderful, the stuff for which movies were made.
After I saw King Kong, of course, I was so impressed by the prehistoric animals in it that I wanted to make a film called Evolution.
Evolution was a chronicle of the history of life on our planet. Harryhausen knew T-Rex's work would be Oscar-worthy.
So I shot a lot of experiments on 16mm film of dinosaurs, particularly with the T-Rex and the Triceratops.
After so much criticism, T-Rex yearned to be taken seriously again. So when Harryhausen suggested they reunite on Evolution, he leapt at the chance.
I wanted to do the dinosaur sequence first because I was in love with dinosaurs.
As Harryhausen had expected, the raw talent of his star provided a performance that was truly brilliant.
There's something that happens with stop-motion photography that is quite unusual. I know when I saw this Tyrannosaurus and all these wonderful creatures moving, there was something about it that reminded me of a nightmare. You knew it wasn't real, and yet it looked real.
The film was on its way to becoming a magnum opus, but other projects kept Harryhausen from finishing Evolution. One of the strangest films that T-Rex ever did was another Harryhausen project, which went into production towards the end of the 1960s.
Valley of Gwangi was a movie about a King Kong type of plot. It was set in the Old West, though, this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to see has never been seen before.
Valley of Gwangi stars T-Rex in his first leading role, and for many fans, this is the greatest movie T-Rex ever made.
Valley of the Gwangi with Ray Harryhausen's Rex. That's a T-Rex.
The way it moves around, surrounded by the cowboys on horses trying to lasso it, is some of the fantastic three-dimensional martial art displays ever portrayed by a prehistoric film. It's called a B-movie. It's not. It's a B-movie plot with AAA Academy Award dinosaur animation.
Get aboard!
The picture is admired more today. Some people think it's one of our better pictures. But unfortunately, it just got dumped on the market with hardly any publicity. But over the years, it's accumulated a big following, and it kept the dinosaurs alive, and particularly the T-Rex, because he was the hero.
But audiences of that time did not embrace Guanji. This was not to be T-Rex's vehicle back to the top. So during the 70s, T-Rex was forced to support himself as a spokesman for an international phone carrier.
One minute you're top of the world, the next you're driving a taxi. Loads of work for aliens, but the dinosaurs, they struggled. Washed up, finished, all over, extinct. Again. Leave it. Leave it.
Sorry.
The diminutive appendages continued to plague the gifted dinosaur's livelihood. People just wouldn't let the scandal die.
The thing is, you wonder, why does a dinosaur like that have such tiny arms? I mean, who designed that? Well, you have to look at the whole Tyrannosaur group and its evolution. If you look at the earlier ones, the more primitive ones, the ones that are farther back in time, they're smaller than T-Rex, but the arms are bigger. As they evolved through all these different kinds of Tyrannosaurs, you notice that the size of the animals keeps getting larger, but the arms keep getting smaller. So maybe if Tyrannosaurus had not gone extinct, maybe if he survived another 10 million years or so, maybe those arms would have disappeared altogether.
During the scandalous years, there were devoted scientists who always believed T-Rex was a majestic warrior. They continued researching Tyrannosaurus's background to document the accurate heritage. But while advocates toiled to rid the world of doubt, it became clear that the once physically impressive specimen had not concentrated on his appearance. It's one thing to be in the eye of the storm of gossip and disgrace in Hollywood. It's quite another to be fat. T-Rex needed to be ready if opportunity knocked.
It really changed the look from the tail dragging dinosaur to a much more hunched down, sleek, Porsche-like fast hunter.
Then the break T-Rex had been hoping for arrived. Scientists with new analysis proved T-Rex was capable of lifting hundreds of pounds. He worked his bones to the bone. Without a scandal hovering over the actor, Hollywood was ready for T-Rex's return. And as for the ideas about T-Rex being a scavenger, paleontologist Bob Bacher says the answer was staring us in the face all along.
These teeth are stronger and thicker than any other meat eater. These are like deeply penetrating lion fangs or bear fangs. These are, in fact, armor-penetrating anti-tank guns. One bite from this would kill any other dinosaur, including Triceratops. Now, as far as speed, T-Rex has the longest hind legs for its body size, the longest hind legs of any animal that's ever existed. It's all head and leg. It's all running and biting and nothing else. This animal, as big as an elephant, would be twice as fast. It could catch anybody. And if it could maneuver in the correct attack position, it could kill anybody with this array of armor-piercing weapons.
With rumors dispelled, T-Rex was free to shine again. Technological innovation in film came to T-Rex's aid and relaunched his career. At the beginning of the 1990s, developments in computers led to the new science of CGI, computer-generated images. As cosmetic surgery revolutionized the appearance of other Hollywood stars, computer graphics were able to get T-Rex into prime condition. He looked fitter than he ever had and became quite athletic. Modern technology created a whole new dinosaur.
this attracted the eye of Steven Spielberg, who had the foresight and the money to do some really incredible dinosaur effects. And it was really Spielberg who pioneered the first CGI dinosaurs.
Though T-Rex's career had crashed as quickly as it had skyrocketed, the mighty dinosaur was committed to being on top again. T-Rex, a lean, mean dino machine, soon caught the attention of Hollywood's greatest moguls.
Send in Mr. Rex, Mr. T-Rex. Okay, give me sad. Okay, let's try surprise. Okay, now let's try something else. Give me anger.
With Spielberg at the helm, T-Rex once again roared his way back to being the tyrant of Tinseltown.
When I saw Jurassic Park, I was just astonished. I knew everything had changed at that point.
Ariana Richards had the opportunity to co-star with T-Rex in this blockbuster of blockbusters.
Oh, he was wonderful. He made the whole shoot fun for us. And he was just so creative. He never forced us to do anything. And he even asked us for our ideas sometimes.
I have so many incredible memories of filming Jurassic, and I think I'll always have those. And they really center around working with incredible luminaries like T-Rex, of course. Well, I still remember one of the first scenes I had where I was introduced to T-Rex in the Jeep, and I'm shining the light out in its eyes. Stupidly, I must say, but I did. I was blonde. I still am. Anyway, so I'm shining in its eyes, and I actually see the pupil contract right in front of me. I was blown away.
Mr. Rex is given a one-dimensional character. His sole motivation in the movie is to chase things and bite them. That's all he does. He bites trucks, he bites jeeps, he bites trailers, he bites actors, he bites other dinosaurs. That's the only motivation. T-Rex was more complex than that, had to worry about raising its young in a harsh world, had to worry about finding a mate and keeping a mate, had to worry about competing predators and diseases. Worry, worry, worry. There would be more angst in a real T-Rex.
Steven Spielberg's record-breaking Jurassic experience put T-Rex back on top, and his return to the limelight created new interest and speculation about his background. Those who had been proven wrong persevered on their quest to ruin the movie star. The rumors alleging T-Rex's genetic link to birds resurfaced, this time with new substantiation. Scientist John Ostrom discovered fossils that might be proof that dinosaurs fall under the classification of birds.
Scientists like Dr. John Ostrom started looking at specimens like Deinonychus, this nasty theropod with big claws and hollow bones like Tyrannosaurus rex. And he said to his colleagues and other students, maybe Tyrannosaurus rex were birds. And of course, that began a huge debate that is still raging today. Was T-Rex a bird?
Recent discoveries of dinosaur fossils in China support this conclusion. The remains clearly show feathers had once covered the body.
The hottest news about Mr. Rex is if you petted a living Mr. Rex, it would have feathers. Soft feathers all over the body and the head. Our Chinese colleagues have found members of the Rex family species covered with fine feathers. In fact, all meat-eating dinosaurs we've discovered with well-preserved skin have feathers. This is shocking news.
Hill Creek, Montana's favorite son had beat the odds time after time. His career was revived more than 65 million years after the extinction of all other dinosaurs. He became Hollywood's brightest star, only to become Hollywood's biggest scandal.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we heard from the man, Dinosaur himself. T-Rex has asked me to warn you that in response to recent scientific evidence, he is experimenting with a brand new look. So here he is, Hollywood's biggest and baddest star, as you've never seen him before, an altogether fluffier T-Rex.
Tyrannosaurus Rex has come a long way from this dinosaur that was a slow and tail dragger to Spielberg's vision of a Tyrannosaur that could outrun a Jeep. T-Rex is hit the pinnacle of his screen life, I think. I mean, he's now how Charlton Heston was as Ben-Hur. Magnificent.
I love this guy. How can you not love Mr. Rex?
T-Rex is still the major dinosaur draw. I mean, he's a superstar.
Shoot for the moon, Tyrannosaurus Rex.